Okay, so here I am checking the rod bearing clearance and looking at, it looks like it is within the white, right there. And then if I just go over to the green, it's bigger than the green. So, I mean, realistically it's in the 0.0015. But by looking at the gap, it could be just a tad bit bigger. Let's say 0.0017 maybe, only because I'm, in comparing to that to the green one there, which is just, it seems to be a little bit more. So I'm gonna jot it down as a 0.0015, but below it I'm gonna put a mark just for record that I think it's 0.0017 is where I'm going to end up putting. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing the rest. So got all the clearance measurements for the rod bearings, and you can see there. What I stated earlier is I got the new what they fall in under the new line. Take for instance piston number 1 where it says 0.0015. And then I put the arrow down as 0.0017. It was a little bit, what can I say? There was still room in it, and then if you put it over to the green, it was too big. So I just try to give myself a little bit more of a closer one, but it falls in the 0.0015 spacing on the plexigauge measuring tape. So, but those are the ones that actually came out a little bit higher than 0.0015. So, but everything is good. Now it's just time to torque everything down. Okay, so on the ARP instructions, which I'll grab right here, it states that ARP recommends using the stretch method on the rod bolts. Or you could torque to 40 foot-pounds, and that's what I'm going to end up doing. Is I'm going to torque. All right, so now it's just going to be from this point forward, the easy part is just putting everything all back together. This is the most technical part. I'm putting all back together, gapping the rings, having clearances on the bearings, on the rod bearings, main bearings, doing all that stuff. There's a lot of on and off type deal just to make sure you're within spec. So yeah, so let's keep going. I've got my oil pump. I'll grab my oil pump and we'll get the cover, the dust, whatever it's called, the oil baffle thing there, and we'll start the assembly. Well, it looks like I will not be using this. I did clean it, thinking it was going to work, and what I ended up doing is when I first put it on, I saw that it was sitting on these ARP studs right here. So I went, trimmed them out, and then I'll go put it on, and didn't realize that it also hits these up here, and I didn't want to cut that much off, so just leaving it off. Okay, so I got the oil pump on. There is no clocking to it, it's just putting it in place. With these right here, the best thing is to have the chain on the actual water pump sprocket and kind of tilt it up in the air, and then get it on the crank gear and kind of just maneuver it, put a little pressure down, and it just goes right into its own dowel pins right here, and then tighten the bolts and then tighten these 10 millimeters, and that's it. So I'm going to flip it up, flip it the other way, and start getting the front section done, or the front section, start getting that together, and gonna get the I'm gonna grab my hoist, and I'm gonna end up lifting it up so I can go ahead and get the cover in the back, so that way I can go ahead and get the seal done as well. That way I can put the oil pan on. So, all right, so I already had got my timing, or yeah, my timing chain guides on both. I went ahead and pre-lubed the both guides, and I also ended up lubing up the oil pump gear and the chain, as well as I'll get the actual main chain done in a little bit. But I do have my little locker clothes hanger thing sitting right there, so that way she stays put, and when I put the cover on, I'll just be able to kind of get it in situated. So, yep. Okay, so went ahead and got the timing cover, the seal on, and the crank hub. I got all that tightened down. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the block from the actual engine stand and put my rear main seal and the rear mirror seal plate that goes back there with a gasket, and then put it all back together on the stand, and that way I could go ahead and install the bottom section, which is the oil pan, and then work my way up. Simple, already off. So just gonna keep getting to it. All right, guys, well, here we go. I did get the rear main seal on with the plate, and I tell you what, it took me a lot longer than I thought it was gonna take me, because somehow there's a bolt ferry running around in my garage and took my bolts. So I literally had to go looking for some through my bolt bins and everything. But when I took everything off, I put it on my table, and I just don't know where they went. So anyways, I got them clean, painted. The rear main seal is on. I went ahead, in the interim, since I had to wait for some paint to dry, I went ahead and installed my filter housing. I got that all down, and yeah, so right now I'm going to flip her over and start getting the oil pan done on, and yeah, let's keep moving. All right, so one of the other things that I ended up doing, I put a little bit of sealant, the ultra gray. And what I ended up doing is I put it on the lower section of the timing cover up front, and the same thing in the rear, just just to be sure there is no leakage that comes through there. And here's the brand new gasket. Starting to come together, guys. So now it's time for the water pump and the pulleys. Oh yes, painted. You didn't think I was gonna forget about these little things. So since I've gotten, I removed the AC pulley, these bolts are technically too long, so I gotta add an additional washer so I can take that gap up, that way they don't bottom out. So I'm gonna go grab those. Okay, so once I get the engine in place and get it all situated, I will torque these down, especially the big one, and then these as well. As right now, can't really torque it, no flywheel, no locking pin, so nothing to be able to bite to. So going to go ahead and keep adding a little bit of the accessories. Alright, so I've got the head on already. Gasket, the dowel pins are in, and got my chain through here. Got it all locked up with a little coat hanger. Got the rest of the accessories on. So now it's just a matter of I'm going to apply the torque seal on the AR pistons and drop those in, and then I'm going to secure them down and get the process going to where I'll start getting them ready for to be torqued. All right, so I already got the studs in, the washers, the nuts. They're all pre-lubed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the torquing process. ARP has these studs for the S52. It's the M50, S50, M52, and the S52. First torque sequence, 25 foot-pounds. Second is 50 foot-pounds. And the third is 75 foot-pounds. So we're going to go through that. So I'm going to start with 25 foot-pounds. And one thing that I do is usually when you get a head gasket, you get a little chart thing. And what I end up doing is as I go in, I mark it. That way I know which one. It's very important that that's done correctly on this one. So by the time I'll get done, it'll look like this one that I did before in the past. So 3 marks for each torque sequence. So I'll go ahead and get started with that. All right, that's the first torque sequence. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish the second torque sequence and the third, and then I'll pan back when I get ready to install the hydraulic lifters and the trays. All right, guys, so about to put the lifter trays, and I wanted to show you these cool little tool that I come up on Facebook, and works awesome. Little magnet holders for the lifters, and they work great. It's not endorsing, but it's a really good product. If you want to get some, you could go on eBay and type them up, or search for them for M50 or BMW M50, M52, S50, S52 magnet lifter removal tool or tools. This is awesome. It's a great little tool, and I wish I would have had this earlier, but I went ahead. I have a different method that I use that seems to work okay, but this right here just steals the show. So this is great. It says Alien on the little magnet things though, but this is cool. So I'm going to install it, and A for exhaust. It's a great little tool. The guy's name on eBay is some guy 3800. I went ahead and got, I guess he sells them in 2 different kits. One you can get for 1 tray, and then the other kit you can get for both trays. I went ahead and got for both trays just in case, but sometimes, you know, it's good to have, and I'm glad I did. You really don't need 2 trays, but for the price, can't beat it. So look them up. All right, now what I'm doing is I'm going through and adding some of my lube, lubrication assembly lube on the actual lifter and the cam journals. So. All right, so I got the cam gear on the chain so I can have it propped up. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on top dead center, which I should have already done, but I didn't do. So I'm gonna put it on top dead center. And what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna back off top dead center. And I'm gonna keep an eye on the piston. And then I am going to put my caps on and get these somewhat snug, and then I'm going to add my my cam alignment tool in the back. The reason why I do it this way is so just in case nothing moves, nothing slips as I'm trying to put it together, that cam doesn't fall back and open up the valve when it's top dead center, like cylinder number 6 or cylinder number 1, and then I have a bent valve. I've learned that the hard way. And what it was is the way I remember how I did it incorrectly was I did have it top dead center, and I was fighting to try to get the cams locked in place and get them down. And I think it jumped on me. I just heard a quick little snap, and I looked at it. Everything seemed to be fine, and that's when it happened to me. So I learned I always back it off TDC, and I get my timing cam, my cams aligned and on the timing marks. Then I go back to TDC. If it does slip on you, or if you do have an issue, you're not going to bend the valve at that point. So I'm gonna keep moving forward. All right, so I already got my the cams in. I went ahead and also put lubricate assembly lube on all my cam caps. So I got that straight. I did have it on TDC. I already backed it off, so what I did is I went forward towards the intake side and got the piston down enough to where I know it's not going to interfere with any of the valves. If anything, usually if it's here, I put it to here. So about that much, it'll be plenty of clearance. So what you do is once you get it in there, you place the caps, get everything all orientated correctly. And then what you do is you rotate it until you physically get the last ones to fall in place with the caps. Just you can see all the threads up to here, and then the further you go forward towards the cams, the higher it goes. Same thing on the back side. Okay, so what you end up doing is it's an easy process. You got to, I've done this many times. Just bring it down and just tighten them by hand. For as far as you can go. I'm gonna get a thread on that one. And this one I won't be able to get a thread. Alright, so I'll just leave that one loose. Just work my way. So I have a little small little ratchet. And just go little by little. See, now I'm starting to get it more to bite. Place. This is the one that's bringing it down a little bit more. All right. Little magnet, because it happens a lot. I'm going back and snugging them so that way there's not all the pressure here. You do not want to snap the cam. So now I'm just starting to run down. And now I can get all of them. And again, you just want to snug them down. Now I know, there's other methods people use as the standard one. This works for me. I have done this many times this way. And knock on wood, have had no issues. And I have yet to bend the valve like I did the OEM way. So there we go. So now I just got and a little process. So at this point, there is no piston on the top side. Or all the way to the top. All the pistons are down. So rotating the cams, no issue. So what you have to end up doing is find your points on top. Just rotate it here with a wrench. Looks like I went the other way and would have been done already. Alright, there's my top for that one. So that is TDC for the cams, and now I could rotate my crank back in the correct position for TDC.